What's good, family? This is Drew, and this is a quick play recap of a play I took yesterday. This is QQQ. It was a very high probability play, but I did get faked out of it twice and end up leaving $4,000 on the table, right? So I'm gonna show you exactly where I made this simple mistake at, how I could have done it better. But before I get into that, I wanna go over first why I like this setup and why this setup is high probability, right? So let's jump right in. So first, right, we always want to look at the bigger picture on the market, right? So looking at the bigger picture here, we see that QQQ since September 1st has been making lower highs on this trend line right here, right? We see that Qs have a nice trend line right here, a nice multi-day trend line, right? So the bigger the time frame, the bigger the trend, the bigger the pattern, the bigger the breakout, right? So on top of this trend line here, we can see we also have resistance here at this white line, which is 375, right? It's a 375 key level on Qs, right? So we can see this day reject, and then we finally broke above on this day, which was yesterday, but we couldn't close above up here, right? We opened above and fell right back down, right? So on top of this resistance here, on top of this trend line resistance, we also have this huge ascending triangle, right? So as I said earlier, the bigger the trend, the bigger the pattern, the bigger the breakout, right? So if you're not familiar with ascending triangles, I'll pull up a picture here real quick, right? And it's basically just, it's a continuation pattern, right? So it's after like a strong bullish move, right? We may see consolidation where we're just keeping the same resistance, but we're making lower higher lows. So this is ascending triangle pattern, one of my favorite patterns. So back to the chart, right? We can see that clearly here, right? Where we have same high here, right? Same resistance, and we're making the higher lows here, right? Now, if we zoom in, we can see that this resistance falls right at 375, which is this key level right here, right? So not only did we have this trend line coming from September 1st and this ascending triangle and this key resistance at 375, we also created another ascending triangle, right? A mini ascending triangle right here, right at this 375 level, right? So this was the confirmation that we needed, right? After this little pop down, right? So right here, we pretty much know that if we can get a clean break above 375 with some volume and a good 5-minute candle close above 375, convincingly that we should get some upside, right? And then we see if we zoom out, we have no resistance until the pre-market high, which is 376.3. And then if we look left, the next resistance we have is 377.6, which is this next lower high from this trend, right? So whenever I play these trend breaks, that's how I target the next resistances. Is I just aim for these next lower highs, right? If it's in a previous downtrend or if it's a previous uptrend, we'll look for the previous higher lows as targets, right? Boom. So let's move in here, right? So these yellow arrows here are my entries, right? And here's where I went wrong. I had my stop loss right here at 374.4, right? And you can see I got in on this candle break here, right? We got a bullish candle close above with some rising bullish volume above 375. So I entered here, but then I got stopped out because I had my stop loss right here. Where I really should have had my stop loss was the previous higher low right here, right? Because this pullback right here is a healthy pullback, as you can see. We held trend, right? We're making higher lows, right? So as long as we don't come and break this previous higher low after this push up right here, we're still in a technical uptrend, right? So this is still very valid, right? So I should have had my stop loss right here at the second yellow line and not right here. So as you can see, I did get stopped out here. Then I went ahead and entered again here, right? This entry was nice as well. This was a convincing bullish break above 375. We can see the corresponding volume bar, right? Nice bullish close, nice rising bullish volume right here. So I went ahead and I entered here. And I just got shook out right here. I did have the same stop loss, but I didn't like how aggressive the sellers came in here, right? But if we zoom out, you know, hindsight is 2020, I see that we're in a clean uptrend, right? And all we're doing is just consolidating, we're accumulating here, we're getting ready for the actual breakout, right? So these two fake outs got me caught up and ended up having me miss out on the actual move, right? So we can see once we got the clean breakout here, we broke out and we ran straight up to a first target of 376.3, which is that pre-market high. And then above that, we had that 377.6 level, which we came up to 377.49, right? So we came about 11 cents away from that target, right? So this was a nasty move. This was a nice about $2.60 move on Qs, right? So two things I really want to point out here, right, is don't make this mistake that I did yesterday and leave all this money on the table, right? Two things that I have to point out here is one, patience. Patience. You can see this whole period right here was just very choppy, right? We didn't get no convincing break, right? Even though we did hold trend, right? If I would have had my stop loss here, I would have been in this trade. And if I didn't get impatient here, we still would have been in this trade and we would have caught this move right here, right? So patience is a virtue in the market. It pays to be patient. So always be patient, and just always remember, if we're in an uptrend, you can have your stop below the last previous higher low, right? That'll validate that uptrend, right? And as long as prices don't get below that, the uptrend is still very valid. So I hope y'all learned from my mistakes. I hope y'all got something from this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff, and then we'll see you in the chat, man. Let's get it up top.